Hey there, folks. It's the Eric Metaxas Show, and that's Glenn Campbell. I have the joy right now of speaking with senior counsel for the Alliance Defending Freedom. Some of you know about the Alliance Defending Freedom. If you go to my website, metaxastalk.com, or the radio website, metaxastalk.com, there's a banner there. You can find out way more about them. They're an amazing organization. I've known about them for years. And senior counsel with the Alliance Defending Freedom is on the line. Jim Campbell, welcome to the program.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, it's great to talk about things like this. I care about them. I think they're very, very important. And when I say this, we're talking about religious liberty in America. I was not aware that there's a new case, the Blaine Adamson story. Hands on Originals is the name of the company that is in a religious liberty battle right now. Tell us about that for folks who are listening. What is that?
Sure. In 2012, the owner of Hands on Originals, a guy named Blaine Adamson, was asked to print shirts promoting a local gay pride festival. He declined because although he works for everyone and he's happy to print for everyone, he can't print all messages. Specifically, he can't print messages that conflict with his religious beliefs. So he declined this order, but he offered to connect the group to another printer that would print the shirts for the same cost that he would have charged. Instead of accepting that offer, they filed a lawsuit against him, and 6 years later, we find ourselves before the Kentucky Supreme Court having to argue that Blaine Adamson should be able to operate his business consistent with his faith.
Okay, now, it seems to me that if somebody comes to a T-shirt store and says, I want you to print a shirt that says, like, F the president or your mother's a bee, there's all kinds of stuff that I could think of that a T-shirt store owner could say, no, we don't do that. That's nasty. That's gross. That's offensive. Some people would find that offensive, and just say, we're not going to do that. You go to someplace else. Isn't that what we're talking about here? How is this different from that?
It isn't different, and that's the concern. The concern is if we first force Blaine to print these shirts, what else are we going to force other people to print? I mean, what the commission argues in this case, and the government that's coming after Blaine, they argue that, well, this is different because the topic touched upon an issue that relates to one of these protected classifications under the law, specifically sexual orientation in this context. But the point of the matter is that those laws protect people from being turned away because of who they are. They don't give someone the right to force someone to print a shirt with a message that they disagree with. And so,
okay. So if I'm gay and I go into a store like this, I go to a bake shop or I go to this store that prints T-shirts and I say, and I'm gay, and I say, I'd like you to print a shirt that says Joni loves Chachi, or I'd like you to print a shirt that says Happy Thanksgiving, or Kiss Me, I'm Irish. And they say, oh, we're not going to do that for you, not because of the message, but because of you. We don't like you. We don't serve your kind in this store. You're saying that there are laws to protect against that.
Correct.
And that's
Correct.
as it should be.
Laws that force people to print messages that conflict with their conscience.
Okay, so we just want to make a clear distinction. So if somebody comes into a store and says, I want this, and they say, well, because you're black, or because you're gay, or because you're an evangelical Christian, or because you're a Trump supporter, we don't serve your kind in here, that is illegal in America.
In many places, correct. Yep.
Okay, but what we're talking about is something different than that. We're talking about a message that the owner doesn't feel goes according to their, somehow it violates their faith. And you're saying that because of religious liberty, we do have the freedom, or at least that's what you're arguing in the Supreme Court of Kentucky at this time.
That's correct. That's exactly right.
Well, so where do you think it's going to go? Because, I mean, to somebody like me, it seems fairly open and shut, and that the Supreme Court of the United States recently made a few decisions that I guess would be encouraging to people who understand religious liberty. So what do you think?
Well, I think we're very optimistic. When we look even at the development of this case itself, we have the majority of judges that have considered this case so far in the Kentucky, the lower courts there, they've ruled for Blaine Adamson. So we're optimistic that the Kentucky Supreme Court will see the case the same way. But at the same time, there's some interesting stuff going on around these issues in the country. This is not an isolated incident, and for whatever reason, people are failing to see the importance of religious liberty and failing to see the distinction that you made earlier between refusing to serve someone because of who they are and declining to express a message or participate in an event or something along those lines because it conflicts with your beliefs.
Well, this is where I thank God for the Alliance Defending Freedom, because I actually think, where would we be if you guys weren't stepping in? Where does somebody go? I mean, this is huge to have to fight in a state Supreme Court for your right not to print a message that you disagree with. I mean, it seems basic, but because, I mean, are gay activists doing this aggressively just because they feel that it's the way they can win the battle?
I'm not sure about that, but for whatever reason, they certainly do believe that they're on the right side of these issues. I however, think that they're on the wrong side. I think that ultimately freedom will prevail, and I think you pointed out some recent decisions from the Supreme Court, two of which were cases that we at Alliance Defending Freedom representing the winning party in. And those cases resoundingly supported this idea of freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of conscience. So we're hopeful that that's the trend in our country, that freedom will ultimately win. Well,
I mean, again, I have to say, thanks to the Alliance Defending Freedom, I want to direct people who are listening to this program to my website, metaxastalk.com, because we have a banner there for the Alliance Defending Freedom, and people can find out way more about it. We're talking about some specific issues. Jim Campbell, how long have you been with ADF?
A little over a decade.
A little over a decade? You're way too young to have been with them for a little over a decade. But we're not going to get into that right now. You're also the director of their Center for Cultural Engagement and Scholarship. We're out of time, but I know we will have you back to talk more about these issues. Just a joy. Thanks to you, and thanks to ADF for fighting this really important fight in America. Thank you.
Yeah, it's our pleasure.